Justice doesn't send a warning text. It just shows up right on time. Chosen one, open your eyes. The return you're sensing isn't random, it's scheduled. Cycles don't stay open out of nostalgia. Reality closes what's been learned. When a lesson locks in your bones, the universe doesn't clap. It rebalances quietly, precisely, without negotiation. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. What you thought was gone is returning, suddenly, not as a favor, as a function. Closure is an algorithm. When you stop offering the old response, the loop can't feed itself, and the door it used to exit through becomes the door it must re-enter. Not slowly, not emotionally, mechanically. Timing meeting a completed lesson. Pause with me. Take one slow breath. Notice the strange double current running through your body, relief and fear at the same time. Your chest loosens while your stomach braces. That sensation is your internal clock, syncing with the schedule. Psychology calls it anticipatory arousal. The universe calls it alignment. Your body knows the train is already pulling in. You don't need to chase the platform. You are the platform. This isn't revenge. Hear me clearly. We're not reopening old fights. We're closing open files. Restoration is not chaos dressed in sentiment. It's structure returning to its rightful place. You didn't expose them loudly. You didn't beg the opportunity back. You stayed in your lane and let time do what it always does. Collect. Reality doesn't bargain. It balances. So prepare your posture. Keep your voice low, your standards high, and your hands clean. Don't gloat. Don't explain. Receive like someone who knows the difference between a storm and a system. And if this word is ringing true in your chest, signal it. Help keep this message in circulation for other chosen ones. Tap what you can. Share what you can. Even a simple 777 says, I'm awake and I'm aligned. Because we're not manifesting miracles out of thin air. We're honoring timing that's already locked. Chosen one, let me make the delay make sense. A cycle is not mystical fog. It's a loop with parts. Pattern, trigger, response, consequence, then back to pattern. It doesn't end because you're tired of it. It ends because the loop can no longer find the response it was built to feed on. As long as the old response stayed available, people-pleasing, over-explaining, chasing, folding, the machine kept power. The lesson wasn't unclear to your mind. It was still soft in your reflex. Reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. Think of it like this. A turnstile only spins when something pushes from the same angle. You wanted the exit without changing the push. That's not punishment, that's mechanics. The wait wasn't denial, the wait was training. You were learning to hold a new angle long enough for the turnstile to stop expecting your hand. Not once, repeatedly. Until your silence wasn't a stunt, it was your standard. Until your no didn't shake you. Until the old hook met no mouth to bite. There are 3 words to etch into your spine. Timing, thresholds, receipts. Timing, there is a schedule reality honors once you align. Thresholds, cycles don't flip off at the first good day. They close when enough weight of new behavior makes reversal impossible. Receipts, every time you didn't chase, didn't answer chaos with chaos, didn't sell your peace for proximity, those were logged. When the meter crossed the line, the relay flipped. Quietly, permanently. Closure is internal first. The moment you stopped auditioning for what already knew your worth, the clock moved differently. That's when the door that once leaked became a door that filters. Mirror logic engages. What left can approach, but it must face truth before it finds a seat. It doesn't return to humiliate anyone. It returns with interest to balance the account. Not revenge. Restoration with math attached. Here's the clean verdict. The cycle stayed open because the old response was still available until you outgrew it. You became unpurchasable by your old price, and when your price changed, The pattern couldn't afford you anymore. That's why it took so long. That's why it's safe now. Chosen one, this is the hidden upgrade that explains your calm right now. Boundaries are not walls. They are standards that stop you from buying pain twice. You didn't harden into bitterness, you clarified into truth. You learned to keep your heart soft and your gates precise. You stopped renting space to chaos at a discount. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. You didn't heal to get them back. You healed to never be bought at the old price again. You shifted from proving to choosing. You stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You didn't submit an essay for your own worth. You let silence carry what speeches never could. Restraint became your dominance. You didn't expose them loudly. You stayed in your lane. You let time do what it always does. Collect, not petty, not theatrical, clean. When the urge to clap back surged, you breathed. When the bait dangled, you blinked and let it swing past. That's not passivity, that's power with a governor. Let me draw the line in neon. Control chases outcomes. Alignment attracts right outcomes. Control floods your nervous system and forces timelines. Alignment regulates your state and lets timing arrive. When you're aligned, you don't bargain with red flags. You don't sponsor confusion. You don't need to be believed to be correct. Interference needs chaos to stick. Your clarity gave it nowhere to land. Tools amplify intent. Your intent was clean, so time amplified you. Because of that, the rules of access changed. The door is still a door, but the handle moved. What returns now must meet the new standard or it cannot remain. No more back doors through flattery. No more emergency passes written in loneliness. Not revenge, filtration. Restoration comes, but it reports to your boundaries first. The return is safe now because you became someone who won't repeat the old pattern. Stay there. Stay clean. The schedule is already honoring you. Imagine this, chosen one, a door in your life that used to swing open with the lightest push. No code, no check, it just gave. Then one quiet afternoon, without announcement, the hardware changed. Same door frame, same hallway, but the handle doesn't turn anymore without a key that didn't exist last season. The visitor might be the same. The footsteps sound familiar in the corridor, but access has been recoded. That's what suddenly feels like. Not fireworks, not drama, fast, quiet, and deeply personal. The entire system shifts the moment the lock is replaced. Here's the law in plain terms. Restoration doesn't return to your old permissions. It reports to your upgraded standards. The return isn't sentimental, it's mechanical. Not because they missed you, but because the energetic math changed. Your consent stopped subsidizing imbalance. Your alignment canceled interference. The economy of your life adjusted its prices and reality, because it doesn't negotiate, it collects, rerouted value back toward coherence. When you stopped voting for chaos, the path of least resistance no longer ran through your open door. It ran around it, then back to it, only if it carried the right key. So what does returning mean? It looks like opportunities resurfacing without the hidden surcharge, calls answered, doors reopened that once ghosted you. It looks like money flowing where invoices used to stall, deposits clearing, leaks sealed. It looks like peace reclaiming nighttime, sleep arriving on schedule, breath unclenching. It looks like clarity erasing static, rumination losing its teeth. It looks like relationships approaching with respect instead of demands. Tone changed, pace slowed. It looks like creative momentum breaking the jam. Ideas landing, execution sticking. Restoration is varied in form, consistent in requirement. New key, new conduct. Don't mistake a knock for an old privilege. Test the lock. If access asks you to loosen your standards to let it in, that's not restoration. That's repetition requesting residency, not revenge, filtration. Let what aligns click, let what doesn't bounce. And hear me. There's a second lock deeper than the doorframe. Your nervous system now holds a code. Your body won't release the latch for chaos anymore. Breathing, pulse, posture, the gatekeepers. Regulation is the key profile. Without it, nothing passes. Chosen one, stay with me. That second lock I named? It isn't mystical, it's measurable. Science calls it nervous system regulation. Psychology calls it pattern interruption. Reality calls it alignment. 3 names for the same pivot. Your body stopped voting for chaos. And when the body stops subsidizing adrenaline stories, the universe stops routing you through them. Not because you wished it, because the circuitry changed. Here's why the old cycle felt so sticky. Fight mode living trains you to confuse intensity for love and urgency for destiny. The spike becomes the proof. You felt alive when the siren blared, so quiet felt suspicious. That's not romance, that's cortisol. Studies in psychology show that chronic threat states wire the brain to hunt for danger, to confirm its own prediction. So you kept choosing the heat because the heat looked like home. Receipts were piling up the whole time. Cortisol loops that never cooled, sleep breaks at 2:17 a.m., breathing shifts you called overthinking, hypervigilance scanning every room for a shoe that didn't need to drop. The body keeps score even when the mouth lies. Neuroscience confirms that sustained alarm hardens into habit. Posture high, jaw tight, heart stumbling between gas and brake. You weren't dramatic. You were dysregulated. Now feel the upgrade. Regulation doesn't mean you don't care. It means your baseline is not for sale. Calm is not weakness, it's a firewall. When you're calm, manipulation has nowhere to land. Alignment cancels interference. Interference needs chaos to stick. Without your spike, their bait is just string. Tools amplify intent, and your intent is clean, so exposure lives where deception tries to hide. Your body no longer donates voltage to confusion. Breathing deepens. Sleep returns to schedule. The heart keeps time without rehearsal. This is not motivation, it's mechanics. Pause with me. Take one measured breath. Notice how safety feels weird at first. That's normal. Your old survival reflex still expects pain to arrive, bundled with pleasure, a bruise taped under the gift. So the return feels disorienting, like good news missing its usual threat. Let that pass. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. When your nervous system stabilizes, chaos loses its grip. Without your adrenaline cosign, the loop can't latch. And because reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. The cycle finally, cleanly closes. Chosen one, open your eyes a little wider. The closing of the loop activated another law, the mirror principle. You were never the prey. You were the mirror. What approached you was always reflected back to its sender, intent, tone, pattern, just multiplied by time. That's why what left is circling back, not to repeat, but to meet the truth that formed in you. Reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. And mirrors don't argue, they expose. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. Returns with interest is not revenge. It's feedback with math attached. Imagine a boomerang. Throw it with a crooked wrist and the arc exposes your aim. Patterns have physics. Force without grounding snaps back. Energy sent out meets the atmosphere of alignment and reports its origin. Science calls it a feedback loop. Psychology calls it projection returning home. The universe calls it balance. Different names. Same inevitability. Think of it like this. A trap doesn't care who built it. It responds to weight. The spring doesn't choose sides. It calibrates to pressure. Misaligned intent eventually steps on its own mechanism because tools amplify the hand that holds them. That's why you didn't need to shout. Stillness is dangerous. You kept your hands clean, and time let the math reveal itself. Not loud, precise, final. So when the return arrives, it arrives filtered. Cleaner, or it won't stay. Clearer, or it will slide off. Your alignment rejects counterfeit codes. Your boundaries function like airport scanners. Anything hiding metal sets off a sound you can't ignore. The tone, the timing, the terms. If any of it requires you to mute your truth to maintain contact, the mirror throws it back. If it meets your standard without you bending, that's restoration. If it begs for shortcuts, that's rehearsal for an old pain. Pause with me. Breathe. We're about to name the 2 categories of sudden return you'll see on your doorstep. One is restoration, structure coming home because coherence called it. The other is a test wearing familiar perfume, asking you to forget the lesson you bled for. The mirror will tell you which is which. Chosen one, here's the split your spirit already knows, but needed named out loud. Restoration arrives like a plane with a confirmed landing slot, calm, on time, with paperwork. It brings peace first, order second, accountability third. It does not ask you to dim to fit it. It respects your pace, asks for your terms, and signs them. It speaks clearly, corrects what broke, and shows receipts without being begged. It doesn't flood you with grand gestures in week 1. It builds a rhythm you can set your breath to. Consistency over intensity. Repair over excuses. Clarity over mixed signals. That's restoration. The other knock is a test wearing familiar perfume. It carries urgency like a siren. Now, 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 or you'll lose it forever. It flatters, then pressures. It tells a long story and offers a shortcut. It wants the door but dodges the lock. It insists your standard is too much and asks you to waive one boundary just this once. It performs intensity, then goes foggy. It multiplies explanations while minimizing responsibility. It speaks future promises to avoid present proof. That's not new. That's your old loop in a new coat. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. If it requires you to abandon your boundaries to keep it, it's not restoration, it's repetition. Reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. Your standards are the invoice. Check the body. Restoration settles the chest and widens the breath. Your jaw unclenches without trying. Posture drops an inch into safety. You feel space to think. A test tightens the stomach and speeds the breath. Your shoulders creep up while the mouth says, "It's fine." Thoughts scramble. Timers appear out of nowhere. The body keeps score even when the pitch sounds sweet. Pause with me. Breathe once, slowly. The reason people panic at the return is they think they must grab it fast. Chosen one, that urgency is old programming from scarcity and survival. Restoration doesn't demand a sprint. It proves it can walk with you. Tests need you rushed, so you don't read the terms. Slow the pace. Require accountability. Let time do what it always does, expose or endorse. If it's yours, it will meet you without you shrinking. If it isn't, your silence will be enough to make it fade. Chosen one, we're going to land this clean. Restoration is not a prize you chase. It's a system you steward. Receive through discipline, not desperation. Rule 1 lives in your pace. Move slow, even when it arrives fast. Speed is where old cycles sneak back in. Urgency blurs ink, and blurred ink births. Secret costs. Let the plane taxi. Let the dust settle. Take full breaths. Psychology calls it scarcity activation when you lunge. Alignment calls it self-sabotage. You will not sprint for what is scheduled. You will step to it with measured heels and an anchored spine. Next, demand daylight. Require clarity. No more maybe. No more secret contracts. No more emotional "I owe us." Name the terms in sentences, not vibes. What is it? What does it require? Who carries which responsibility? By when and how is it measured? If it can't be stated plainly, it can't be held safely. Ambiguity is where manipulation hides its invoice. You are done paying surprise fees. Reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. Your clarity is the paperwork. Keep your hands clean. Don't gloat. Don't explain. Calm is your proof. You do not need the group chat to validate what time already confirmed. You don't perform arrival, you embody it. Stillness is dangerous to deception because it offers no friction to grab. Let results speak while your voice stays low. Detachment is not coldness, it is stewardship of your nervous system. Boundaries are expressed once, then enforced. You do not negotiate with patterns that already hurt you. Consequences are not tantrums, they are pre-decided exits. If the tone shifts into pressure, the door closes without a speech. If someone forgets, remember for both of you by acting, not arguing. You are not punishing, you are protecting the conditions that keep you clear. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. You are not trying to win it back. You're deciding if it belongs. You are the standard, not the solicitor. You are the mirror, not the prey. Receive at your pace. Require clear terms. Keep your hands clean. Enforce once. Let time either expose or endorse. That's how the cycle stays sealed. That's how restoration stays home. Chosen one, when it's a person returning, hear this clean. You don't punish, you require reality. Apology without change is theater. Tears without repair are props. Access is earned with accountability, not emotion. Stillness is your leverage. You don't gloat, you don't rush, you don't reopen the door because sentiment knocks pretty. You keep your hands clean and let time verify what the mouth promises. Accountability is not a vibe, it's a sequence. It looks like naming the harm specifically. No fog, no mistakes were made. It looks like offering repair without being coached. Repayment, amends to the right people, public correction where the break was public. It looks like respecting your no without sulking, pressuring, or negotiating your standard down. It looks like consistency over time, calendar, not climax, behavior that repeats quietly, not speeches that spike loudly. It looks like transparency volunteered, not dragged. It looks like moving at your pace, signing your terms, and honoring consequences without performing martyrdom. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. If access requires you to relax the very boundaries that healed you, that's not reconciliation, that's relapse. Imagine this. A bridge collapsed. Not because you overreacted, but because the math demanded the collapse. Load exceeded capacity, bolts failed, rust spread. You don't reopen the bridge because the driver cries on the shoulder. You rebuild with new materials, stronger joints, engineered inspections, and progressive weight tests. First a footpath, then a small truck. Only after time, proof, and pressure ratings do heavy loads cross again. Your heart is infrastructure. You are its engineer and its city. Sentiment can't overrule safety codes. Your temptation will be to rescue, over-explain, and call it spiritual. That's not grace, that's control dressed as compassion. Pause with me. Breathe. Check the body. If urgency spikes, if your chest tightens, if you hear timers where none exist, that's the old loop asking for a shortcut. Reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. Forgiveness can be free. Access is expensive. Sometimes what returns isn't reconciliation at all. It's closure, recognition, the final confirmation you needed to sleep like you mean it. Receive the acknowledgement, honor the truth, and let the door remain closed if the key isn't accountability. Calm is your proof. Let the mirror do its work. Let the math, not memory, decide who may cross. Chosen one, when it's an opportunity returning, don't resurrect the old life that exhausted you. Build the container it requires now. Provision without structure is just a faster leak. The enemy here is not a person at the door. It's your old reflex to rush, prove, and overextend. Slow your heels. Keep your hands clean. Reality doesn't negotiate, it collects. Opportunity respects architecture. Here's the fact that should make your spine straighten. Blessings are not self-sustaining, they are load that must be carried. Containers are budgets, schedules, boundaries, support, and skill. Money wants a map. Time wants a calendar. Influence wants ethics and a team. Creativity wants systems and rest. Without those, the return becomes a rerun. Not because you're unworthy, but because the math will spill what you can't hold. Imagine this, a power grid. Last season, you were a single room with 2 outlets and a lamp. Now reality is sending more voltage. Clients, cash, visibility, responsibilities. If you don't upgrade the wiring, financial plans, workflow, delegation, legal protection, sleep, the breaker will trip. Brownouts look like missed deadlines, lost invoices, fried focus, relationships scorched by hurry. Science calls it load management. Psychology calls it capacity building. The universe calls it stewardship. Same truth. More current demands, better conductors. Discernment test. Aligned opportunity will not require self-betrayal to keep it. It will meet your values and your nervous system's new baseline. If the offer needs you to abandon sleep, skip integrity, or bulldoze your pace just this once, that's not restoration. It's repetition in a nicer suit. If it honors your no, signs your terms, and scales with proof instead of pressure, that's maturity arriving on schedule. You're not begging now, you're ready to steward what you once begged for. Build the container before you scale the dream. Translate vision into line items and calendars. Set decision gates. Pilot, measure, then expand. Hire the support you use to save money by burning yourself to provide. Automate what used to ride your adrenaline. Protect deep work hours like appointments with oxygen. Put ethics in writing. Put rest on the books. If urgency spikes, pause. Check the body. You decide the voltage you carry. Chosen one. Restoration stays when you build a new structure to hold it. Let alignment write the blueprint. Let time test the circuits, and let your calm, not your hunger, set the load. Chosen one, here's the final seal. Closure is not proven by the headline or the applause. It is proven by your calm. You can watch it return without losing yourself. No obsession, no panic, no bargaining. You don't need to speed the clock or script the outcome. Justice doesn't send a warning text. It shows up right on time, and once reality collects, it doesn't issue refunds. Your steady breath is the signature on the document. What does calm look like in motion? You observe without rehearsing 10 explanations for your worth. You ask clear questions and accept clear answers. Your phone can face down. Your sleep does not audition for approval. You are free to receive or release without making a scene. If it's aligned, it will stand under the weight of your standard. If it's not, it will slide off the mirror you've become. Either way, your nervous system doesn't spike to manage perception. That is closure. Let me compress the journey into the law you just lived. Lesson learned, boundaries installed, nervous system regulated, alignment stabilized, return permitted. Not magic, mechanics. When you stopped supplying the old response, the loop lost its food. When you set the lock, only truth could match the key. Reality didn't change its mind. You changed your math. You don't need a victory dance. You need consistency. Keep your hands clean. Speak low. Require daylight. Let time endorse what is real and expose what is not. This is not revenge. It is removal of interference and restoration of order. Calm is dangerous to chaos because it offers no purchase. That's why this quiet feels like power, because it is. If this word lands in your bones, signal your readiness to receive cleanly and keep your standards. Drop a simple 777. It lets the algorithm know the chosen are awake, and it reminds you that your yes now lives under contract. Chosen one, stay awake. You don't rise by watching others fall. You rise by refusing to fall the same way. The cycle is closed because you are closed to the old version of you. Walk on. Let alignment keep time. Let your calm be the proof.